Hey, what's up, Lorain County High School Hoops fans? Welcome back to another episode of In the Paint. I'm your host, Rocco Nucci. The one and only Kristen Bauer is behind the camera, as always. And we are here live at the Chronicle Telegram, ready to break down another exciting week of high school hoops action across Lorain County. And there was plenty of action to talk about, so let's dive right into things. So first and foremost, some history being made across the county. We'll start over in Elyria with the Pioneers, where earlier this week they got an 89-46 win over Valley Forge. So just a nice dominant win for Coach Larrick and his crew. But the big story there, Jaden Crutcher, he hit 9 threes in that contest to tie the school single game record for three-pointers made. So congratulations to Jaden Crutcher. That ties Lewis Tumblin, for those who remember him. He did the same thing back in 2006. Over at Parma. So a record that held for, 18 years, just about tied now for Jaden Crutcher. So big shout out to Mr. Crutcher for tying that single game record. Kayla Ferenczi over at Amherst, she scored her 1,000th point in a 58-42 Comet win over Westlake. So congratulations to Kayla, a girl we've talked about a ton here on the show over the years. So big shout out to her hitting that 1,000 point mark. Same thing for Columbia's Nathan Borling. He hit the 1,000 point mark as well in a narrow 51-48 win over Clearview this past weekend. So big shout out to Mr. Borling on also hitting the 1,000-point mark. And then over at Brookside, Nolan Wechter, the sharpshooter, he hit his 200th career three-ball in a win over Westlake. So big shout-out to Nolan Wechter. So some history being made across Lorain County this past week. Pretty cool stuff there. Also, on the boys' front, over at North Ridgeville, Griffin Touré, he returned Monday night from an injury that kept him out for a couple of games. Rangers picked up a 68-59 win over Amherst. And Griffin, man, he wasted no time getting right back into the swing of things. He had a game-high 21 points for the Rangers in that win against Amherst. Some other notable boys scores to go over before we look at the conference standings, which are getting pretty tight here towards the tail end of the regular season. Of course, the tournament draw just around the corner as well. But Keystone, they downed Buckeye in an overtime thriller, 73-69. Big story there was Grant Hartley. Kid dropped 40 points in that win over the Bucks, so big win for Keystone. And Grant Hartley. Elsewhere in the Lorain County League, Clearview, they snapped a 6-game losing streak, so nice for Clearview to get back in the win column. They did so against Vermilion, who's in the midst of a losing streak of their own right now. 62-54 was the final there. Thoughts are with Aiden Cruz. My guy, unfortunately, went down with a season-ending injury, as you can see in the Chronicle Telegram. So unfortunate for Aiden. Thoughts and prayers, of course, with Mr. Cruz. But big story from that one. Cy Christensen, he had 22 points. Jai Walton had 17. So making up for Aiden's absence the best that they can right now. And big shout out to Clearview for a gutsy win. And how about Amherst? They notched a 72-68 win over Elyria Catholic in a game that was heard live on WEOL. This was a really fun game to listen to. Landon Bray, he scored 20 for the Comets. Tristan Young had 17 and Eli Solak had 16. So a nice little three-headed monster, if you will, there for Amherst. They're playing some good basketball right now at the right time. On the girls' side, a couple of scores to go over. Midview knocked off Lorain 58-40. Of course, they're doing this all without Liv DeFranco. And it was Leah DeFranco who dropped 22 points for the Middies in that win. So Midview, they just find a way to get things done despite being a little shorthanded the rest of the year. Columbia, they knocked off Firelands. 50-27 was the final score there. A trio of girls in double digits. Bree Heidecker, Caitlin Miller, and Peyton Mengi, all with 10-plus points. Bree Heidecker actually had a double-double, if I'm not mistaken, as well, with a really solid rebounding effort. So Columbia, keeping pace with Keystone in those Lorain County League standings. We'll talk about that more here shortly. In North Ridgeville, they picked up a 49-42 win over Berea Midpark. Grace Kingery, a girl we've talked about a lot here on the show. She dropped 18 points in that win. A couple more here. Brookside, they squeaked past Oberlin on a last-second shot, 40-38. Marquis Aliff, she dropped 17 for the Cards. So we haven't talked a lot of Brookside girls basketball this year. Big win for the Cards over Oberlin. Keystone, they throttled Clearview 63-19. Game-high 21 points from Madison Sokolowski. And again, more with Keystone and Columbia girls here in a second. And then Wellington got a win over Black River. 48-42 was the final. That's a nice win for the Lady Dukes. Brooke Lemcool and Gabby Miller each finishing with double digits in the scoring column. So as we take a look at the conference standings, or at least the top of the conference standings, the more important part here down the final stretch of the regular season, in the Lorain County League with the girls, Keystone just a game up on Columbia right now. And that's important. I'll tell you why here shortly. On the boys' side, it's Brookside on top right now, but Firelands and Columbia chomping at their heels, less than 2 games behind each. So we'll keep our eyes locked there. In the SWC on the girls' side, Olmsted Falls, no real surprise here. They're on top, but Avon Lake, who knocked off the Bulldogs earlier this year, they're giving chase, as is North Ridgeville. So we'll keep our eyes locked in there as well. And on the boys' side in the SWC, Berea Midpark, again, not really one of our local coverage schools. They're leading the way right now. So big shout out to the Titans basketball program. But Elyria, just a game back. Avon, 2 games back. So Lorain County League and SWC, both on the boys and the girls side. Some important conference races here towards the tail end of the regular season. Really makes it fun before the tournament draw, sends us into March and all that good stuff. So coming up this Friday on WEOL, mentioned it a little bit already, Columbia at Keystone on the girls side. So a girls match on a Friday night. Should be a great crowd over there at Keystone. And we'll have it for you live on WEOL if you can't make it out there. Again, AM 930, 100.3 FM. You can download that WEOL mobile app, or you can listen online at WEOL.com. Again, Keystone hosting the Columbia girls this Friday night. A lot of conference title implications on the line there. And then more so on Saturday night on WEOL, more Columbia. This time it's the boys. They play host to Brookside. Again, a lot of conference title implications there with Brookside on top, but Columbia giving chase. So some really good games this Friday night and Saturday night on AM 930 and 100.3 FM at WEOL. So there's a kind of a look at what happened this past week as, again, conference races really heating up here down the stretch. These final couple weeks should be a lot of fun on the Lorain County High School hoops front. So that'll do it for this week. For Kristen Bauer behind the camera, I'm your host, Rocco Nucci, live from the Chronicle Telegram, saying thank you for watching In the Paint. We'll see you guys next time.